How would you deal with claims about societies being underfunded?
So as the president of the LGBTQ+ society for the last 2 years and the founder of another society and the president of that society, I deeply understand that funding is a huge issue. And as well as being a liberation officer for the last 2 years, we actually approved funding for Liberation History Month, and the amount of money we've been given is not great. I think one of the most important things that can be done is increasing transparency around where the development fund specifically goes. I think if students have access to that information, a clear breakdown of this society got this money, this society got this amount, and also kind of the areas in which the money is going. So if the money is going to cultural societies or sports societies, I think that will really help students understand kind of where the money is going, and seeing that it's not being wasted, I suppose. Another key thing would be offering societies financial workshops, specifically around securing external sponsorship. I think that's a hugely underutilized thing that societies can do. Very few societies do it, and they do it very well. I think having workshops on that would be important.
I have reached out to dozens of societies and also just spoken to students in daily life, asked them what societies they're part of. And there's pretty much a common theme where they're told there is no money, but then they also have to deal with a huge amount of bureaucracy, which I feel like represents a lot of trapped money. There's a lot of admin, excessive admin for risk assessments, for reimbursements, which are often delayed. So that also takes money out of the pockets of the students. And the new rules about membership and elections have just caused even more headaches. If we kind of take time to be money, there's a lot of wasted time and a lot of wasted money here. I think if the SU simply made it a bit simpler, they could see some money appear. Apart from that, I also am in contact with some of the fellows of King's College, and I know they're not particularly happy either, and I'm sure they'd be open to lobbying for a little change on the endowment.
So first of all, being a part of the Cricket Society as well, like I mentioned before, we had problems for the net session because the society didn't have money. But also, I believe like as the president of the Indian Society as well, funding has been a big problem because even though sometimes if you're not underfunded and you have enough funds, the SQ takes ages just to release that fund, and they need proper receipt, they need exact, until unless they get the entire data, they won't be able to release it, and which is fair, but they would need to do it in time. And I believe that underfunding is a big problem, especially in the sports society segment, because sports is something that you really need funds for. Therefore, I believe if not even providing funding, they could provide sponsorship from the SU to them. Because like we said, SU runs on the endowments given by the King's College London, and they have a specific amount to be allocated to societies, but there's an increment every year on the amount they get from the KCL. Therefore, I believe that properly structuring that money into societies where it's actually needed and just being transparent about the same would help a lot.
So speaking from personal experience, being part of the football committee, I know that we were severely underfunded this year, and it's severely damaging as well for committee members who rely on that funding. A lot of members have grants and they receive external funding to support their studies. So by the football committee then being underfunded, we aren't able to support the students who in the beginning need help to begin with. And student groups are a big part of campus life. They help with personal development and building connections and friends. So it's important to look into developing these communities and helping them instead of getting them to then reach out externally and look for their own funding. The university needs to support their students and needs to support their communities first.
Right. So this isn't a question for me purely about being underfunded. It's multifaceted, and that's how I'm going to take this. As far as funds go, I don't think funds are anywhere near as important as what our societies are doing with them. I've spoken to tens of societies throughout my campaign, and the one thing that they've always told me is we don't feel like we're trained adequately enough to handle our funds. Now, and for me, that is the biggest problem. If I give every society £2,000 more, but I don't tell them how to spend it properly, they're going to run through that in a matter of weeks, if not months. So the first thing that I would do is fix that. Tell societies how best to handle their money, and they're going to be fine. Sahil mentioned cricket. I play cricket for Kings as well. We started the year in debt because there was a ball last year that left the society so far down in the red. That should never happen, and that wouldn't happen if there was training. So that's number one. Secondly, we are lobbying. I would like to lobby Kings for more funding. My manifesto says that we're planning on doing that to the tune of £50,000, which would go into a scholarship fund, more on which and follow up.
I guess easy in the follow